Hello everyone, in this session we're going to talk about inline elements versus block elements and also a little bit about inline block elements. Firstly, inline elements, okay? So in HTML, inline elements are those which only occupies a space that's surrounded by tag. Okay, enough talking and let's create a paragraph tag to demonstrate what's an inline and what's a block element. Let's begin with some HTML coding. Let's bring up that paragraph over here. So if you notice, a paragraph is a block element. Now let's go ahead and create a span here somewhere, and we don't need this versus block as we can. And let's create one more inline element just in case we need more demo. Right, okay, let's go ahead and style that up. So in the CSS part, let's target that span that we included. Let's give the color as white and background as black. Okay, if you notice, both the span and the strong element, if you notice both the span and strong, they both are inline elements, so they both are inlines, thereby it occupies a space surrounding the content. Okay, in other words, an inline element doesn't start or end with a new line, so it takes up only the necessary amount of width that it requires. To sum it up, the span element gave a styling only for the content area right here, so it applies the styling only for the content that it required. Okay, so if I go ahead and type more content, more text, such as versus block element, you will notice the width also increases along with the span element. Okay, so if I go ahead and explicitly mention the width as, say for example, 300 pixels, nothing happens because inline elements doesn't accept the dimensions properties. So inline elements is good, it's best for styling up things that are needed to be in line. Like if you want to highlight a particular set of words in your paragraph and particular set of elements particular set of words that needed a strong typeface, you can go ahead and implement that. For example, if you need some element to have an underline, let's just say we need some text to have an underline. So let's just say this block element needs an underline. We can go ahead and apply the inline element called U, which means underline, to that element. So in that way, this is kind of useful. And for as well, let's just apply some italics. Well, you got it right there. So inline elements come into picture when you're going to apply some styling inside a paragraph. So it's very useful in that aspect. And now let's move on to the block elements. Okay, so block elements are the ones that occupies the entire space of its parent element. To demonstrate that, let's create a block element called div. Div is a block element, and let's give it a class block test. I always prefer giving a classes to my elements, but I missed it on this one because it's just one element that's coming up. Right, so let's have a inner div and let's have a paragraph and let's have a filler text, our usual lorem ipsum filler text. Right, so let's go ahead and copy that up, paste that up right here. So we got like 3 paragraphs now. Let's go ahead and style that paragraphs. So we call it as block test, and with the block test we just give it a background of green and then padding of 10 pixels to give a nice spacing around all the sides. Okay, and then margin, do we need to give a margin? No, we don't need, just leave it just like that. Now let's style up the paragraph element. So block test, we are targeting block test class with a paragraph. So this means we are targeting the paragraph selecting the paragraph element which has a parent of block test, and then giving a border. Let's give a huge border like 10 pixel solid, and give a bright color called yellow is good, I guess. Yes. Should we give a padding for our paragraph as well? A 5 pixel, which gives a nice spacing inside the div. Yes. And the color of white, that'll do. I'm quite happy with how it came up. So this is fine for the demo purposes. So if you look at this, a browser typically displays the block element with a new line before and after the element. So before our element there is a new line. So our block element started here and created a new line, and after every paragraph you will be noticing a new set of paragraph that came along. So it kind of you can visualize them as a stack of boxes. Now let's try out adjusting our width in our width in our block element. So for inline we already tried, it didn't succeed. So let's go ahead and give a width of, let's just say 400 pixels. Excellent. So the block elements accepts the width properties and height properties. It's just a random guess, 200 pixel. So you'll be getting boxes like this. You can shape the boxes with the dimensions, and then you can also position them, which we're not going to discuss in this session because it's a huge topic where we will involve flex boxes and floats. So let's just not discuss about this in this one. This is just a very basic and bare minimum session. Okay, so this is pretty much about the block elements and the inline elements. Both, it's not inline versus block. We need both. We need, if you want to highlight some text inside a paragraph, obviously we need some sort of an element called inline element. And obviously for building, a building block of web is primarily using block elements. So you can stack up your boxes like such as headers, navigations, and sidebars, main content, things like that. You can achieve these things only with the help of block elements, right? But through CSS you can control the display properties, like giving a display as block. Let's just see how it looks. Ta-da! You see the place where we applied our inline elements, it created a new line before and after that element, which is a span. Okay, so probably I'm sure you might have got the actual idea of what's an inline and what's a block element. Okay, so what are some of the block elements? All the HTML5 elements like article, section, header, div that we have seen, and paragraph, canvas, right, H1, H2, those typographies, headings, sorry. So these are some of the block elements. To know more about it, you can visit the MDN block elements. You will get more information about what are all available as a block elements, and some more information about the accessibility and things like that, which is a very huge topic. And then the last one is a inline block element. So inline flows along with the content, whereas the block separates the content. So it just breaks the content and stacks them up. Whereas inline block is kind of inline block is kind of it has the characteristic of inline as well as the block. Okay, you can apply the dimensions properties, you can apply the positions in a box that's been set with an inline display as inline. Okay, so right, in short, okay, let's create a simple. Let's just get rid of these div elements and then create a demo HTML code. So div, the class of inline block test, that's right. And then we can have a box of div. Let's just call it a class of blocks. I am an inline block element. That's fine. Let's copy this and paste it couple of times. Not sure how many times, just random guess. Okay, so yeah, we got it right there. And then let's define some CSS for this inline block element. It's called as inline block test. Now let's set a nice background, which is a, always go with this triple E, which is a mild cloudy kind of a gray background. You can choose whatever you wish you want, and then let's just target the box class. Let's go with the background of white, and then width a random guess as 120 pixel, height of 80 pixel, and then a border 2 pixels of width, and should be solid. And for a change I'll go with the pink color. I never used pink before. And then a border radius to give the nice rounded edges on all sides, 8 pixel. So yes, you got it. So the default property of div element is display block, hence it is stacking up one by one in a column layout. Now let's go ahead and apply our display inline block. It should, yes, it is stacked now side by side rather than in a row wise. It goes as a column wise. So this is how an inline block works. It accepts the dimensions properties, as well as it will accept the position property as well. So this is pretty much about it. I'm really happy how it came out. So also, if you have any suggestions for any other videos, please drop a comment below. And if you have any other approach for this, you can feel free to leave a comment about it. Thank you so much and have a good day. Bye bye.